Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of Plug Power, ticker symbol PLUG. And here we are looking at the daily time frame during market hours on Thursday, March 14th. And current price is right around $3.36, being a little bit high, but approximately flat on the day. Looking at the chart, the last video that I did put out a week ago on March 7th, suggesting that Plug was putting in some topping signals. And it does look like the day after, on Friday, March 8th, we did put in a top and have since pulled back over the course of this week. But I do think we might be arriving at some support. However, there is one trend line that I will draw up here in a minute that does suggest to me that price could go a little bit lower. But before I get into that, I did want to go over some of these levels and really just wanted to go over some of the areas where it does seem to be like there is a confluence of these levels, suggesting that it could be significant, notable support and or resistance at some of these levels. And yeah, I just think it's really cool how some of them do line up. And yeah, I do think, price might be going a little bit lower in the coming weeks. But, I just wanted to go over where we're at and where we've been before I get into that. And so from this orange retracement, I do think it's pretty cool that the 382 at a price of $4.04, really just being right around that psychological level of $4, kind of predicted this previous high that we did just get, having multiple wicks above that level, offering a great opportunity to either trim or offload shares before buying back in at a lower price. So I do find that to be really interesting. Also, the 618 from this yellow retracement at a price of $4.25.8, right around $4.25, was, basically the ideal level for trimming, with one wick up to that level, hitting a high on the 8th at a price of $4.33 before seeing this pullback on Monday. We did get a drop of nearly 9% on the day with this big red candle. So, I do think that it is pretty cool that these levels do inform on tops as well as bottoms. And speaking of bottoms, it is quite possible we are forming one, as there does seem to be a confluence of these levels. One being the orange retracement here, the 618 from that at a price of $3.36. Again, another level here from the yellow retracement, the 236 at a price of $3.37, and then also from this white retracement to the upside, going to the high that was hit last Friday on March 8th. We do have the 618 at a price of $3.40.3. So really in the range from like $3.36 to $3.41. It is quite possible that we will be finding a bottom there, because there is a confluence of those levels. However, it is also quite possible that we are forming a bear flag with this down move and then consolidation here. It is quite possible we could break lower. So on that note, I do think it is really important to be keeping an eye on this level to the upside, the 50% retracement at a price of $3.58. So hopefully we can move up today and tomorrow, Friday, March 15th, and get a weekly close above $3.58. I do think that would be really good. However, if we cannot reclaim that, I do think it is a good idea to be keeping an eye on these levels down here and see where our closes are at. And so yesterday, on March 13th, we got a close at a price of $3.36. So really at the base of that range that I had just went over. So it's not really looking too good. However, today we are currently trading above that, even though we did get a wick lower, hitting a low so far on the day of $3.32. But I do think it's going to be very important to see where we close. If we do close lower than yesterday's low, which was at a price of $3.32.5, if we close lower than that, doesn't matter that we've been lower than that today, being half a cent lower at a low so far of $3.32. That doesn't matter. What matters is what the close is. So if we close at $3.32 or lower, that would suggest confirmation of this breakdown, that we are not respecting these levels and that we may go lower. But if we do close higher than 332.5, we don't have confirmation, so it's good to wait for that. If we can get closes above any of these levels, ideally getting a close above 341, that could suggest that we are respecting this, that these levels are acting as support, and we may very well be moving up to the 50% retracement at 358 or higher, either hitting that tomorrow, Friday, March 15th, or next week. So we really do need to be keeping an eye on what the close is. Ideally, not lower than 332.5, ideally higher than 341. If we do see a close today in that range, we're still just waiting for confirmation of a breakdown. But waiting for that confirmation of a breakdown could just result in consolidation here that would result in the formation of a bear flag, and that we could see continuation to the downside. So do keep that in mind. And so if we are to move to the downside, some levels that stand out to me, one being the 786 from this retracement, that is at a price of $3.15.1. And then also just below that, during the previous day of trading from this candle here, we did get a gap up, and the high on February 26th was at a price of $3.08, where this blue line is. So filling that gap based on the daily trading, not the close, which on that day was $3.04. So that would be a more proper gap fill. But so getting down to that range, $3.08 or $3.04 might very well be in Plug's future. And then just below that, really based on the psychological level of $3 being a whole number, that is marked in red here. So I do feel that there are a number of levels here to the downside that price might be returning to. And then just below that, we do have the recent low of $2.83. So it is quite possible we could be returning to those levels, but I do feel like we will hopefully find support at these levels. And that is really based on a trend line that I will draw up here right now. And so taking the Ray tool, I'm just going to the low here at a price of $2.26.3, and then connecting it to the low here at $2.83. And so now those levels are marked exactly right where those pivot points are. And if we do look at where, that is relative to current price, just below it, we do see that this trend line does overlap with these three lines. So I could see price dropping further, if not to 315, where the 786 is. It could potentially be filling that gap and maybe even hitting $3 a share. And while I do think it would be good to see closes above this uptrend, we might very well see wicks below. So there could be some great dip buying opportunities at these levels. But if we do see a close below the uptrend, and especially if we see two closes below it, that could suggest confirmation and further downside, like going to 283, 284, right around there. So do keep that in mind. But I do think that with current price consolidating here, it does suggest to me it might be a bear flag. So, I am thinking there is further downside. So do prepare for that, and also do plan for, the possibility of a breakdown, as we might go even lower, potentially to this gap to the downside even more at $2.68. But I do think there is some hope that we will be respecting this uptrend. So like I said, keep an eye on that. But those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.